How great today our story begins with the guy who decided to take a break. How cool he looks in this suit, like a member of some mafia or gang. He is so cool that he doesn't care at all about the fact that a real battle between gangs is happening right in front of him. It seems that he can no longer just stand and look at all this, so the cigarette is thrown out of his hands. Now he is starting to accelerate. Has this guy really decided to go and fight in the crowd? He is almost like a real samurai, only instead of a katana, he has a long iron stick. It will still be very painful for his enemies. And here is our first victim. Get ready to receive a severe blow to the head. What an incredible smile. At the moment, he is the only one who can control himself. It all happened on the set when they were filming some kind of film about gangsters. Of course, it was shown on TV by some unknown company. And the boy watched the film with interest. As a child, he didn't even know who gangsters were. He just liked to watch epic battles. So far, the boy is telling us a story about how he fell in love with films about the mafia. But despite the fact that those films were not bad, the guy seems to have followed the bad example after watching them and also started fighting at school. So the fat man goes flying after his strong blow. He believed that those films that suited him most were about Korean gangsters, where there were constantly fights and a lot of new cool words. The fat man clearly had no intention of fighting, but our boy had already gotten too into the role of the bad guy and continued to beat him, asking if this idiot really thought he could defeat him. So the boy spent his entire childhood watching films about bandits and believed that this is what real men should be like. The problem was that eventually the person's true identity was revealed, and now the boy was completely different from before. The world of cinema was destroyed by endless fights, but it still happened that the main character grew up thinking that this world was too small for him. Everyone ran up to that fat guy to see if he was even alive because the main character hit him too hard. Meanwhile, he himself simply left the battlefield thinking how cool a dude he was. Everyone looked at him with condemnation. This was probably not the first time he started such fights, but he didn't care at all. Well, now the boy has simply grown up, become much cooler, and apparently his love for bandits is still preserved. His parents were terribly poor and gave him the only valuable gift in his entire life. Of course, it was the genetics that he inherited. Just incredible muscles and strong arms. While he's walking down the street like a really cool dude, they tell us that in his entire life he hasn't lost more than one fight. He just walked around the school and the street and could beat up absolutely anyone who would contradict him. The old man asked if he was going to school. But he's not going to answer the old man's questions. Why the hell should he even care, because he's not asking if he's going to work? But the admiration he had for gangsters was only questionable, and the old man said that he was a real idiot because he was looking for bad guys on his own. Of course, his plans were not to become a gangster or anything like that, but now he is already in his early 20s and all he can do is swing his fists. In the end, he just came to his neighbor who was also a gangster. He had to beat up the weak to take their money. Sometimes it even came to women. He was met by some fat man who called him Sunbae and asked him to go to him. According to the main character, the best thing about those women was that they looked like him. They also moved in the background. The guy didn't understand why the hell he brought his girlfriend to the pool table, but she just said hello to Appa. And he didn't understand at all why the hell she was looking at him like that. Did he really like her after they crossed paths a couple of times? He asked the main character not to swear because he brought his girlfriend here. Because he can understand him, it's better to play with him. Our boy starts making fun of him, saying that his fat friend has absolutely no idea about girls, he just has terrible taste. How did this idiot even manage to start dating this lady? In response, the fat man simply said that he had his own reasons for doing this, because there was also his own benefit, and now the main character agrees with him. But our boy was still sure that it was best to be alone. Damn, the kid made such a cool shot. The balls hit each other several times and went straight into the pocket. After which we are shown the amazing face of a girl who apparently decided to join their game of billiards. All the same, the main character decides that he will play against her alone, but she was worried that Ju-ho would find them. How can she play billiards with him if she is his best friend's girlfriend? Although in his opinion this was completely normal, they could even call him. The lady was not sure that the guy would just get away with it. Then they will just play billiards and won't tell their friend anything, because the girl has already told him that she went to the store, and he said that his stomach hurt and he went to the bathroom, so there definitely won't be any problems. In such cases, the girl decides that the main character should take responsibility for this game of billiards. Damn it, in his opinion, it was this girl who was to blame for everything, because it was because of her that he could not concentrate on playing billiards against Ju-ho. He goes back a little and reminds that she herself made a hint that she wants to play billiards. Now our gangster is starting to play billiards for real, and now nothing will distract him. He turns out to be quite crazy when he plays the game and asked because he is a much better player than her idiot Ju-ho. The best friend has already been waiting for them for too long, so the boy decides to finish this game as quickly as possible. Damn it, she turns out to be just a great opponent, even better than he initially thought. Perhaps it's all because Ju-ho played billiards too poorly, and she had an excellent opportunity to train. Now he begins to set a condition for her. If she likes playing billiards with him so much, then let her not play with others. He's really kind of crazy. Just look at his facial expression. Madame warned him that the game would soon end because he had almost won, and she had no strength. Now he decided that it was time to finish this damn game and defeat it. But the girl begins to worry because he is a real master of this game. She wanted to know what kind of trick he was going to perform, and he was just about to use a secret technique. To say that this game was simply incredible is to say nothing. Now she definitely lost. Damn it! Now the lady doesn't understand what to do because the main character made too strong an attack. Of course, he doesn't care at all about her feelings, he's going to leave first, and for now she can rest after playing billiards. Now he had already returned back to the hall where the gaming tables were. It seemed his friend had been waiting here for too long, and the main character had to pretend as if his stomach still hurt. The fat man just wanted to know what the hell he was doing in the restroom for so long, but the boy just said that he ate something wrong. Now he feels much better so that they can continue the competition, but he was also worried about the fact that his girlfriend Seimi went to the store and still hasn't returned, and she's still not answering calls. And this idiot is just preparing a cue to play billiards with him and grinning because he knows perfectly well where his girlfriend is now. It was necessary to somehow distract his attention, so the main character says that they already have little time and need to start playing. And here is our madam. So as not to arouse suspicion, she just bought herself some juice like she went to the store. The fat man clearly didn't like the fact that his girlfriend was in the store for a long time and asked what the hell she was doing there. Hate begets hate, so she yells back at him about why the hell he was angry at her. She simply said that watching them play billiards was terribly boring, so she decided to take a walk. To confuse him, the main character asks if he is going to play. If suddenly he wants to argue further, then let them go outside. Of course, he believed that this was a law of nature, that the strong always take away something from the weak. Moralists would say that this is evil. The fat man told his girlfriend that they would talk after they finished the game. In short, the girl becomes completely indifferent to what her boyfriend says because she is not afraid of him at all. The game of billiards begins anew, and while the fat man was taking aim, the main character looked carefully at her girlfriend. While she winked at him, the voiceover tells us that this world absolutely does not tolerate excuses. Even those people who are in power come there specifically to commit illegal actions quite legally. Just look at large companies. They are expanding as if they are going to swallow this world. It was with these thoughts that the main character constantly walked down the street with a gloomy look. No matter how terrible it is, the main character tells us that every day they live has already been predetermined by the power of the authorities. In such a world, only our boy decides to think about his own helplessness. And in general, he wonders what it means to be a great man, but he is completely sure that he is a strong man. He asked the local chef if bandits were bothering him, but no one needed a kiosk where they prepared snacks. In his opinion, the joke was simply excellent. In such cases, the main character is about to leave and wishes him excellent sales. Still, he was completely confident that living alone was the right way to maintain pride. Ultimately, his social circle narrowed and he was glad of it. That cook, meanwhile, was thinking about the main character. Did he really imagine himself to be some kind of gangster from the 80s? What was happening to this world? Why everything had turned inside out? The tiger will never bow his head to the wolf, after which the actions are transferred to some abandoned place. Someone was looking for the main character. By the way, his name is Sun Joe. It seems that yesterday was a rather fun evening and too many drinks were drunk. Now he can't even wake up normally. Why the hell did someone even come here and think they could wake him up? Damn it, it turns out to be our fat guy friend who came here to say something incredibly important. The main character doesn't really want to discuss very important things right now, so let him sit down for now. The question was that Sunju was already almost 30 years old, and now he needed to decide which organization to join. Damn it, what does this even mean? The main character suddenly remembered that movie about gangsters because of this phrase. Criminal groups that just live their criminal affairs, in his opinion. This was very cool. Even so, our boy never became a gangster and was proud of the fact that he never allowed anyone to bully him. Of course, he managed to listen to everything that the fat man said. The only thing he heard was that he urgently needed to see Director Park, and Sunju knew that if he was a man, he had to make important decisions now and then. The fat man said that he wants to meet with the Sunbae, and if he suddenly talks to them, then he might have new ideas. At that moment, the main character thought that he wanted to live his life as he wanted, and asked to give the number of those guys. Then he would make an appointment. After which the actions are transferred to the evening when the main character was walking down the street all alone. Damn it, this place seemed simply scary to him. There were also no people at all, it looked like a trap. But no, There's a guy standing in a suit, and next to him is a terribly expensive car. In fact, he has no other options left, and he simply approaches this guy. The boy approaches this guy with glasses and asks if he is Mr. Park. In response, he simply threw away his cigarette and said, "Welcome to Chasun-jo." He is the executive director of Pak Jan Company. He asked him to come with him because someone was going to meet the main character. It was all somehow strange because he thought it was Mr. Pak he needed to meet and where they would take him this time. Having walked a little further, there turns out to be another cool car. Apparently this is really some kind of cool car. That guy with glasses opened the door for him and said that he would need to sit in the car. Of course, he is scared to just get into a car with a stranger, and he tries in every possible way not to do it. Meanwhile, some dude was sitting in the car itself. It turns out to be the director of the company himself, who is waiting for his appearance. Now there is even more fear than before, because the main character did not at all expect that he would have to meet the president himself. And now he was already in the car, and a couple of guards remained to guard them outside. It's hard to imagine that the main character ends up in such an expensive car with the president of the company himself. The president decides that this awkward silence needs to be removed. He already understood from the very beginning what kind of guy he is. All he can do in response is simply laugh and agree with the president's words. He only talks about how the main character has grown a lot while he was fighting with the whole world, and now everyone is sticking their tongue out at him. Even their organization needs fresh blood like him. With the expansion of the organization, they are trying to get rid of risks, and at first glance he understood what kind of person the main character is. He had the look of a lone wolf who simply steps over the sheep that stand in his way. But now this whole conversation is starting to seem too strange to him. What does this dude mean when he tells him all this? The atmosphere was already too tense, and the president puts his hand on his shoulder and invites him to go for a drink. Let him go and talk to Mr. Park about all the details for now. Now he can safely leave this car. The meeting was, of course, simply incredible. Everything turned out to be much cooler than the guy could have imagined. Well, since the head himself managed to accept him, it means that he suits them. It's time to get down to business. And our boy is like a real soldier who is ready to get down to business right now. And while they are there chatting about something, a voiceover tells us that they wanted to hire the main character to a leadership position. Mr. Pak said that they had been keeping an eye on him for too long to accept him into the organization. But before deciding whether he could be a member of their group or not, he himself had to prove that he could do something. So let him complete one task for now. This was done in order to indicate their point of view and silence everyone in the organization. He simply had to do this in order to change his life, because the organization was moving to a new city on an innovative foundation. But in that territory, a conflict arose with another organization that was under state control. And now, while the boy was simply relaxing in that same bar with his friend, he was only thinking about how to nip this in the bud. While he drank another glass of drink, he told us about his task because now he has to kill the boss of that very organization. Of course, the main character is going to complete this task because he wants to completely turn his life into the life of his dreams. Now he came to some very cool place in a completely different image. It looked like some kind of restaurant, and a guy met him there and asked how many other people would come with him at the table. So he alone will definitely be enough. Of course, everything was just fine. Lately, a large number of people have been coming to them, so let him go into one of the rooms. The atmosphere, of course, was incredibly tense, because the guy would have to send the head of a state organization to the next world, and this is where his mafia path begins. Everything will happen in these narrow corridors and many rooms. That guy took him to the right place. And now, while he's just sitting at an empty table, he's thinking about the fact that changes in his life will begin right now. I don't know what kind of place this is, but the waiter apologized for the wait, and soon he will bring a couple of ladies to him. Damn, in this image he looks much cooler than in ordinary clothes. One might say that he even looks like a real gangster. He only had a knife with him. It's strange because he had to deal with such an important person, but in the end he only took this. I have a better one in my kitchen. While the main character looks at his reflection in the blade, he understands that today he will have to take a person's life. Too much time had already passed, and with every second he was immersed further and further in thought. He had absolutely nothing to fear and nothing to regret. His life was not so easy anyway. This is how he lived his whole life, and now he is already 30 years old, and even now he is going to go to the very end, because he has let go of everything that happened up to this moment. It seems that this does not look like the person who will represent a government organization. There is just the image of a girl. Of course, the boy was a little puzzled because he expected to see a serious person. Madam simply said that she was pleased to meet you and said her name, Chaya. She had heard very well that he abandoned absolutely everyone he had and was looking only for her. Perhaps the guy heard somewhere that she was damn beautiful and then decided to meet her. He simply confirmed her words by saying that he was indeed very beautiful, and today he would spend the whole day with her. It was simply incredible, but the guy would have to pay a high price to play poker with him. Of course, he's incredibly cool and doesn't worry about money, so he'll definitely get his Monopoly game. After which these two just kissed. It's all strange because initially the guy was going to work and in the end he's playing cards with the girl. But everything turns out to be not as simple as it seems to us, because Pak told him in advance that there is a place called Hong Yak. That's where Doc Bo often goes. Perhaps this will be the best place to carry out his plans. When he goes there, he will definitely meet a girl named Doc Bo. First, he will need to pick her up from there and spend time with her. Then he will be able to figure out the perfect moment. Now let him take this little thing. For some reason, Pak said that this would be their last chance. But the main character, like all of us, did not understand what this small thing was and why it was needed at all. It was just a small tracker, and it could turn out to be incredibly useful in the business that they had in mind. First, he should listen to the plan that he came up with, and if he understands what he can do, let him go and do it. In general, this is exactly what he decided to do. He has already found the girl. All that remains is to correctly use the surveillance device that the pack gave him, and they will be able to find the right person. Suddenly, the lady simply pushed him away and said, why the hell is he in such a hurry to play cards as quickly as possible? Because he himself told her that he wanted to play cards for a long time. But he thought completely differently. Playing cards all day was of course very cool, but there were things much more important than this game. Damn it, this guy is just crazy, the girl thought. Well, to hell with him, after all, he had money, so it was up to him to play cards with him or not. It turns out that being a gangster is incredibly cool. Not only do you go on dangerous missions, but you also play poker with cool girls. The girl herself also liked this turn of events, because the main character turned out to be just an excellent opponent in this game. Their poker game continued and the boy picked up the coolest combinations that he could to defeat her. But their game cannot last forever. He spent all his strength on the last attack and it seems that he will soon lose consciousness. In the next frame, they were just sitting at the table, drinking drinks and enjoying such a cool evening, but the girl looked kind of sad. She just confirmed that he was a really good card player and asked if he was going to continue playing poker all night. Of course, his answer was positive, but first he needed to drink some drinks to recharge his energy, and then they could continue. Today she still had one opponent, so she wasn't even sure that she could stay with him here for all the games. Suddenly, a really stern guy comes into the room and shouts for this lady to immediately come with him. She was even a little scared by such a sudden appearance, but the main character just sat with a stone face because he was already waiting for them to appear. She was already about to leave. Why the hell did the fat man come here for her? After all, he has already asked her many times not to play poker with others because she remembers very well that he must leave today. The problem was precisely that he arrived here too early. The girl tried to find an excuse while the main character continued to drink drinks in the background. He couldn't say anything. He just watched from the side with the face of a real Sigma and waited for his plan to come into action. In short, he doesn't care at all that now is not the time, and he just takes her with him. In parting, she says that it's time for her to leave and asks for forgiveness for leaving him so quickly. Here he already decides that he needs to activate and asks where she is going because they agreed that they would spend this day together playing poker. Once again, she asked to forgive her and thought that they could play some other time. Damn it. What was wrong with this nonsense anyway? The healthy dude seems to be starting to hate the main character for communicating with his lady. It was necessary to get her away from here as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what he asked her to leave as quickly as possible. But he did something strange that made Madame shocked. Why the hell did he decide to strike with cards so suddenly? Making a face as if he were some kind of Sherlock Holmes, he asked to pay attention to this lady. After all, right now he realized that she and the main character were playing poker, which means she broke her promise but still tried to find an excuse. Now he definitely didn't need her, so he decides to get rid of her as quickly as possible. Let him stay with this idiot. Now it was the turn of the main character, and he asked why the hell he decided that he could play poker with this girl. The situation, of course, didn't go exactly as the main character had planned, but on the whole it would also go, while that guy was yelling that now he would have to start playing poker in a new way, on a new field. Of course, our main character denies everything and says that he didn't think about anything like that, because it was completely normal that they played poker in this bar. While he was talking to him, this bug had already appeared in his hands and was tracking his location, so he changed his plan. The boy said that he played poker simply because he wanted to, and did not see any problem in it. While he was telling all this, he had already managed to attach a bug to his shirt, but it seems that the guy didn't like it at all. Why the hell did he even dare to touch him so arrogantly? Now the main character was in serious trouble. A powerful blow instantly hits his face so that he knows who the real boss of the rocking chair is. From such a blow, the boy even fell to the floor, because he did not expect at all that the big guy would decide to start fighting. He called our boy a bastard who doesn't even know who he is. If suddenly he really wants it, he'll wipe him off the face of the earth and won't even bother. It seems that now the main character will definitely not be left alone, and another series of blows will fly into his face. Calling him an insensitive bastard, he continues to beat him, not understanding how he even dared to treat him like that because he is a respected person. The girl began to worry that at this rate the main character would simply go to the next world, so she decided to stand up for him. Again, he was called a bastard. He generally knows other words besides this, but she still asked him to calm down because the main character was not to blame for anything. She suggested that he just go and play poker together, exactly as he wanted from the very beginning. After all, such negotiations work. But in parting, she wants the main character to be careful, because with a character like his, he definitely won't survive for long. If this lady only knew that he could actually fight well, she wouldn't say this, but now all he can do is just laugh. Then he continued to drink drinks, only now completely alone. The waiter immediately comes running and asks for forgiveness for what happened. They didn't expect this to happen at all. Maybe the main character wants to get himself another opponent for poker. But he just refuses with a smile on his face and says that he will drink another glass and leave here. But still, the waiter insists that they bring him another opponent, because besides that girl, there were many more beautiful ladies who played poker no worse. Let this whole circus end, because now the guy just wants to drink drinks all alone. Let him go on working and not distract him. Of course, it was all just a damn game, and now he can track the position of that boss using a map, a good device after all. He still hid his incredibly dangerous weapon next to him, and if so, he takes it with him. After which he goes out into the corridor in which everyone was together with their couples. But his path lies in a much more important place, namely the restroom. There he continues to spy on this damned boss. It seems that for a long time he just stood still. Yes, everything was exactly like that. Now he is sitting in his room and talking with a friend. But after drinking so many drinks, he also needed to step away for a while. Now the boss just goes to the restroom and then returns to celebrate. But the friend thought that he could accompany him and go with him. But the boss said that he was not crazy and certainly not a girl, so he would get to the restroom on his own. Damn it, it seems that the guy definitely didn't expect such a plot twist. Now his target was in the same room with him. At the same time, while he was minding his own business, all he could think about was that that damned lady was doing too badly because she was playing poker with others. But now it was necessary to understand what to do next, because the mission was to eliminate the target. Damn it, the boss is already tired of going to the restroom so often, but he doesn't notice the guy sneaking behind him at all. It seems that his assassin mode is not leveled up at all, and he turns out to be noticed. It's just that it doesn't matter at all because what the main character wanted to do turns out to be done. Damn, this is probably just incredibly painful, although I was rooting for our boy from the very beginning. Oh, you brat, that's all the boss has time to say, and it seems that we shouldn't see him anymore. Next, the actions are transferred to the main hall in which all the waiters and guests walked. It looks like the guy is worried after all. He decided to send a person to the next world, so this is understandable. He realized something after using the knife. His character is completely unsuitable for taking people's lives. But be that as it may, the job has already been done and there is simply no turning back. All his life, the main character did nothing but fight and admire the fact that gangsters are incredibly tough people, but taking people's lives was clearly not his business. What the guy wanted was the same romance that was in films about gangsters, but now the boss is going to do something before leaving this world. This was the first time he used a weapon and thought that he would never do it again. He only had to take a couple of hits to complete the mission, but he simply could not do that. All these damn thoughts that constantly haunt him gave him no peace, and he somehow doesn't care what happens next. To begin with, he was going to protect himself, who he was and what would happen, what he would do next. Where is his place? That's exactly where he wanted to start by throwing the evidence in the trash. As a result, at the age of 30, he still failed to understand what kind of person he was. After which the actions are transferred to another place, the main character still felt completely fearless and was ready to do anything. But for so long, he was haunted by the thought of what kind of person he was, the biggest question in his life. Until the age of 30, he lived simply by some kind of wild dream, which now apparently was not destined to come true. His friend was going to come to him to see if he was alive, but as soon as he entered the apartment, it just smelled terrible. What the hell, all he does is drink beer with other drinks for several days, brother. Water also exists. I recommend it. The main character now somehow doesn't care about his condition and is much more interested in why his friend came. It turns out that Mr. Park contacted him and is going to meet with the main character, and he warns him that this is not a meeting that can be avoided. Damn, the main character doesn't even really have anything to say. Will he really have to go? At the meeting, the main character was told that the boss received serious injuries because of which he is now in the hospital, but he hopes that from now on the guy will be more responsible in his affairs. And while he scolds our boy for the fact that now it will be more difficult for them to remove the boss, our video ends. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and like, so that the new part will come out soon.